Professor Dr. Naseem Naqvi. Professor Naqvi is a medical doctor during the day and also the founding president of the British Blockchain Association, which he founded in 2017. He is also the lead author of the UK's National Blockchain Roadmap, which outlines strategies for integrating blockchain into the UK's economy. Dr. Naqvi also founded the Center for Evidence-Based Blockchain, a transnational think tank focused on evidence-based blockchain practices. In 2023, he was also awarded for his services to blockchain in the 2023 New Year's Honours. He has significantly transformed the UK's and the global landscape of blockchain and DLT, positioning him as a leading figure in the field. His keynote address is titled Bitcoin and Geopolitics, a global perspective. Professor Naqvi, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to hand over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia. Can you all hear me all right? Am I loud and clear? Okay. So, right. So, Bitcoin and geopolitics. Um, this is a big topic, and I have only got 15 minutes. So, I'm going to share with you some big ideas, some questions, and we can look into some possible answers also. And I have been studying Bitcoin for almost the past decade. I started studying Bitcoin back in 2017, 2018, when I did my master's degree in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And the idea that someday a world's superpower like the United States of America would develop Bitcoin as a strategic reserve was barely thinkable. But here we are in 2025 hosting a summit on this development. So I want to congratulate, first of all, Sonia and her team for organizing this excellent global summit on a very important topic and a very timely topic. Now, this is a significant global development. We have listened to Safedian, how Bitcoin has evolved over the years, and this is a move, this is strategic reserve that could really um, reshape the global power, not just in finance, but also in how nations show strength, how they show resilience, how they show their sovereignty. So this is not just a policy matter. I believe it is a socio-technical and geopolitical a moment for the global economy. So I want to share with you six big ideas. I don't have any slides, but I want you to listen to this very carefully because there are some really important ideas and thoughts and kind of concepts which we have to understand when it comes to Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. So, firstly, what exactly is a strategic reserve? So, by definition, a strategic reserve is a stockpile of critical assets held by a government or institution to ensure stability, security, or economic leverage during crisis or disruptions. So, this is the definition of a strategic reserve: a stockpile of critical assets held by a nation state to ensure economic stability during crisis and disruptions. And history shows us that strategic reserves are about power, about survival, about stability. If we go back in time, we look at the ancient Egyptian rulers. They would store grains for famines in the times of crisis. In the 20th century, we have seen nations learned that they need to reserve gold And oil, we had the US Gold Reserve Act of the 1930s, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve Act of the 70s, after the oil crisis, and so on. So today, this power isn't just barrels or bullions, it is bits. And this bits is Bitcoin. It's a decentralized, borderless, scarce, uncensorable asset. It's a new kind of reserve, and the nations have started to catch on it. It's a shift in global monetary power. For the past 70 years, US dollar has ruled the global monetary system. The cracks are now showing, the rise in debt, rise in inflation. There are calls to de-dollarize and so on. So what happens next with the US Bitcoin strategic reserve? Well, it's a game changer, because the world's biggest economy, a world's superpower, sees a non-sovereign asset for the first time as a part of its strength, and that's huge. Bitcoin moves from all the speculative crypto trading to something like a digital gold. It's legitimate, it is strategic, and it is adopted by nation states. So what are the effects of this? Well, the central banks might start stacking Bitcoin. Countries like Brazil or Nigeria or Vietnam could jump in. They can build financial systems outside the old playbook. And of course, this could challenge the dollar itself, because in short term it might strengthen it, of course, but in the long term we are looking at a more multi polar monetary world with a new balance of power. And why is that? Because Bitcoin is neutral, it is inclusive, it doesn't pick any sides, it is not tied to any flag, it is not tied to any agenda. And we are living in a world which is split by sanctions, conflicts, financial exclusions. So when we look at all of this, it matters. For countries like Venezuela, Turkey, where systems are very shaky, Bitcoins is a way to plug in to the global economy. There's no permission needed. For people in places like uh, uh, Africa, where we have rising inflation, banks are broken. It's not just a tool. Bitcoin is a way to save, to build, and there is hope. So this isn't just about money. It's about the socio-economic empowerment. It's about socio-economic human development. Another important point is that in the 20th century, we looked at oil. So oil was power, energy security was national security, and now we have cyber security, cyber resilience, very important, the digital infrastructure of our economy. And Bitcoin fits right in. It can't be censored, it can't be seized. If the global systems like Swift, for example, if it crashes or get cut off, then we have a backup. We have the Internet of Money. It's a resilient layer for trade and treasuries. And it's not just for allies of USA. Adversaries can use it, of course, to dodge the sanctions too. But that's why the US building a Bitcoin reserve is about staying ahead. It's about shaping the rules of the next era. It's not just all about control, it's about leading, and leading in a very smart way. Another important point, which is in the context of a Bitcoin strategic reserve, is the hash power race. And Bitcoin is more than just a coin. It is a network, and it runs on nodes, it runs on mining, it runs on a distributed consensus network. There is hash power, and we know that China was, before the mining ban in 2021, China was contributing around 40 to 50% of the global hash rate. Now it's around 30 to 25%. US is currently leading at around 35 to 40% of the hash rate contribution. So that's a big deal, because countries who are in control of this infrastructure, which controls the Bitcoin, are in a better placed to lead this new global financial system. So US going all in Bitcoin reserve is not just about holding some coins. It's about building capacity. It's about building mining capacity. We know that it creates jobs. We have seen it in El Salvador and other countries. It sparks innovation. It taps into renewables. Um, a lot of Bitcoin mining is now run on renewable energy. It creates job in energy sector. It creates jobs in mining operations, in cybersecurity, IT, and so on. So the race is on. So China could flip back anytime. Of course, we know Middle East is all in. So it's not just about crypto tokens, it's about influence. Another important point I want to make is that the Bitcoin strategic reserve is a philosophical shift as well. Trust is the most precious commodity in the age of digitization, in the age of AI. We have seen that. This isn't just about finance, it's about building trustworthy economies of scale. Bitcoin is about transparency, it's about accountability, it's about trust. It's finite, it's auditable, anybody can audit it. It's a public ledger, it's free from policy whims, and it is an open, borderless network. And US embracing it as a reserve is telling the world a very clear message that we believe in trust, we are open, and this is how we are going to define the digital age. And this hits home when people are losing faith in opaque systems, in rising debts, and endless money printing. So there is this system which is a finite asset, uh, and a transparent network. So Bitcoin is a reset. It's a signal that we are building our economy on certainty and not on chaos. My final thoughts on Bitcoin as a strategic reserve and the geopolitics of it is that we are at a very, very important critical juncture in history. We are at a fork in history. We have two paths. One path is a closed systems where they are opaque. There is mistrust. There is a lack of openness, with the geographically restricted systems. And then we have this other path, and of course Bitcoin is one of the components of it. But we have open networks, we have open economies, we have these network states, this distributed digital assets where code regulates geopolitics, and then that's happening, that's already happening. So now, of course, Bitcoin as a reserve isn't necessarily the whole answer. It's one of the small components if you look at the bigger picture, but it's an important question, and it makes us ask, what world do we want to live in? And I personally see a future where nation states trade freely across borders using these decentralized systems, where financial power comes from ideas, from innovation, from global skills pool, and not just restricted geographically to one location. And I think that is happening already. So nations can lead the future, not with might, but with vision, not with barrels and bullions, but with Bitcoin and blockchain. So thank you very much for having me. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you for the invitation, Sonia and your team. Thank you.